pros and cons list. You're about to get one, and it's about to be very concise. I'm only going to give you the biggest, what I deem to be the two biggest advantages and disadvantages to turnkey rental properties. And the reason I want to keep this list concise is because I want you to really put a lot of focus on them. I know the longer a list gets for me, or the more rambling that goes on, which I'm usually the one doing, or the more talk about something, I forget about the original points. So I'm only going to give you the two major advantages and the two major disadvantages from my vantage point, because I want you to focus on them. Because I think if you focus on these, it can completely change either whether you choose turnkey rental properties as a strategy or not, and also how you manage your turnkey rental properties, which is important. The two biggest advantages to turnkey rental properties, in my opinion. Number one, the obvious. All the hard stuff is done for you. And it's not even just that the hard stuff is done for you, rehabs, placing tenants, managing the tenants. It's that somebody who is a professional is doing it for you. So let's say you're not really into real estate, or you don't really have a big background in running rental properties or whatever. That's fine. It's not complicated. But when someone has a lot of experience in that, especially for rehabs, that's huge. So not only is all the hard work being done for you, it's being done by really smart people, hopefully. Not every turnkey provider is perfect. Anyways, that's advantage number one. Everything's done for you, which is very different than a lot of other strategies. I guess the bigger advantage in my mind, which I don't know if it's a bigger advantage, but it's an incredibly important one. Unlike most rental property or real estate investing strategies, you get to verify the performance and the condition of the property before you close on it. Huge. So if something doesn't check out, you don't have to buy it. Your money's not what's in the pot holding all the risk. It's the turnkey seller. So the turnkey provider buys the distressed property. Let's say they're rehabbing it and the rehab goes way over, or it takes way longer than whatever. That's on them. That's their money. That's their risk. They have to deal with all of that. You don't have to deal with anything until you close on the property. And prior to closing on the property, you can verify everything. And there's very little about a property that you can't verify. Are the tenants in? Are they qualified tenants? What amount exactly are they paying? What's the exact condition of the property? You've gotten a property inspection. You've gotten repairs done post-property inspection. You can run comps on the neighborhood, on the city. You've done market research. You've done everything. You've interviewed the property managers. You do all of that before you ever close on the property. And before you close on the property, you're basically risk-free. Like, it's amazing. And this is a huge advantage over other strategies. So, two major advantages. Number one, someone else is doing basically all of the hard work for you, and they're probably experts at what they do if you're working with the right people. And number two, you get to verify everything prior to closing. Side note, I'll put a link to the comment in the comments to another video where I talk about the risk of closing without tenants, because some turnkey providers will convince you to, or try to convince you to close on a property without tenants. The gist of my whole argument against that is that's one less thing you can verify. You can't verify that you're going to get tenants in at that rent. You can't verify who the tenants are and anything. So it ties back into this whole thing. So with all of that awesomeness said, what are the two major disadvantages to turnkey rental properties? I would say that the most common one is you're going to pay about market value for the property, which goes against the whole value add idea, where you buy a distressed property, you put X number of dollars into the rehab, and that forces the appreciation, so you have instant equity, basically, at the time you complete the project. Whereas with a turnkey, you're going to pay market value. So, and with really no way to force appreciation at that point, unless you happen to buy in a market that is about to have a big boom, and the market forces it for you. So, you have to take that in consideration, because a lot of people don't like that, and they don't want to, they call it overpay. It's not overpay. You're paying for what you get. You're getting a fully rehabbed property. All the work is done for you, but that is going to cost you more than if you do the work yourself. So it's something to be aware of, and it's something to look at when you're looking at, what are the goals of your portfolio? Are you more concerned about the monetary profits, or do you work full-time, have a large family you have to take care of, and you don't have time to do all that work yourself? So in this case, that might work out perfect. So you want to look at that. And then the second big disadvantage to turnkeys, and this one I would consider to be not obvious and quite frankly kind of boring, because it's more of a mindset situation than it is like directly related to your property. But I've said this in other videos, but the turnkey rental property concept has put in people's heads, and I'm one of the culprits of putting this in people's heads, is that they're hands-off rental properties. I'm pretty sure my Turnkeys 101 ebook for sale on Amazon calls it the definitive guide to hands-off rental properties. So again, I don't really have a lot of room to talk, but after I put that book out and I saw what that messaging does for people, it seems like it gives people a misperception about how hands-off they can really be. It's arguably the most hands-off way to buy a rental property and invest in a rental property, but it's not 100% hands-off, because ultimately the major thing you're still responsible for is doing due diligence. You're not taking anyone's word for anything. You're verifying everything on your own. You're verifying those tenants. All of that verification that I bragged about that you get to do prior to closing, you actually have to do it. And people are like, oh, hands off. Everyone does the work for me. I'm just going to kick back now. Well, cool. You get to do that for the most part, but after you do all the due diligence. And so I have seen time and time again where people, it's like they are riding in the back seat of their own investment. This is your investment. You are the boss. You have got to be willing to step up, call somebody out if they're not doing what they should be doing. Yes, these people are doing all the work for you, but you need to ensure that it's actually getting done and done to the standard that you expect. So, in summary, well, those two disadvantages, we'll kind of tie them all in together. Number one, you're going to pay market value with not really a lot of way to add value. And number two, it's almost like a plague of misperception that you don't have to do anything for a turnkey rental property, and that gets a lot of people in trouble. So summarizing, two major advantages, two major disadvantages to turnkey rental properties. You get to verify everything before closing, which is an incredibly unique opportunity and seriously brings your risk level down. And number two, everything's done for you. Also very unique. On the flip side, you're going to pay market value for those advantages, which, you're going to pay more for something, I don't want to call it better, it's just a different strategy, but all of that done for you, yeah, you're going to pay for that. You're going to pay about market value. And all the while, this last one really ties into how you end up managing and owning your turnkey rental property, is getting rid of the mindset that you never have to do anything. Because if you have that mindset, not only are you going to end up buying a property that is not exactly as advertised, but along the way, it's probably going to cost you a lot of money if you have a bad property manager and you don't do anything about it. If a tenant's giving someone a runaround and you don't do anything about it, or tell the property manager to do something about it. So those four things tie so much into buying a turnkey rental property and managing the turnkey rental property. And if you're aware of those and very clear on them, then I think you can make the best out of your turnkey rental property experience.